Welcome everyone to this exploration of the Munay-Ki rites, the initiations that come from the Andes mountains and the jungles and the coast of Peru. A body of wisdom that is universal, that is available to every person in the world and in all traditions, but it was given to us by these medicine people through Dr. Alberto Villoldo, so we could face these times of great change with great courage and with an awakened heart, an awakened vision, and with sacred activism. Through years of learning with these peoples in Peru, Alberto brought to us, to the Western world, these transmissions that can help us remember that we are also indigenous and natural, that we are not separated from nature, and that we are humble like humus, like earth. We are bones, we are minerals, we are blood, we are vulnerable, we have emotions, we are learning. And at the same time, we are divine, we're infinite, we're expansive. We already have all the light and the wisdom within us to stop living a life of suffering, but remember that we can be creators, creatresses of the world that we long for our children's children. For me, the Munay-Ki, it meant the experience of expanding my horizons, going from a small life, from a close heart that was concerned about, well, my life, my home, my children, my dog, my neighborhood, and my job, and mine everything, to my neighbor, to the community next door, to the other countries, and to the entire world. So it was really a very palpable and lucid experience of having the little walls of my life crumble and falling, to make space for me to see beyond me, to transcend the egocentric me, and realize that we are all interconnected, all people and all beings, the ones that are small insects, bacteria, viruses, all the way to giraffes and elephants, but also the ones in the invisible world, the hungry ghosts, and the guardians and keepers of many places. So life is just so abundant in so many different ways. The Munay-Ki help us to be natural again and to have that expanded way of seeing, of realizing how big the universe and the galaxies are, and how precious our life is. A metaphor that it's so lucid for me is if we imagine that we are like a pond, all aspects of ourselves are in a pond. And the Munay-Ki initiations, each one of them is like a pebble. So if we throw the first pebble into the pond, it ripples, it moves consciousness within us and makes us realize things and themes and aspects of ourselves that we have forgotten, that we are disconnected and detached from. So we throw the next pebble and more ripples. And with each pebble, with each initiation, more and more we remember our natural state and our infinite state and our very human state that It has feelings and emotions and relationships with others and difficulties. And the Munay-Ki help us see everything from many different perspectives. It gives us tools to see from different levels. And it really helps us remember all that we are, from the marrow of our bones, from the core of our being, all the way to the expansive universe. The Quechua word Munay means this abundant love that we all have the capacity to feel and to be when we open our hearts and let it flow in and out. That unconditional love that a mother has for her children, especially Mother Earth, for all her children, and the goddess that is not separated from her creation, the goddess that holds all creation in her own womb and is always available with her breast to nurture her children. And Ki, Chi, is that universal sound that means power. We find it in South America with the medicine people, the Machi. We find it with the medicine people in the Himalayas, the Amchi. We find it in the healing philosophies of China and so forth. So the power of that unconditional and abundant love. And we all have the capacity to realize that, like other traditions speak about realizing all the light that we are. And as a human experience, we can speak of realizing the love that we are. And when we have that awakened heart, then we can really see reality as it is, rather than seeing it from the self-centered or afraid perspective. When we live individualistic lives, then we are always defending what is ours. We think that we have to compete and that we are separated from all other people and all other beings and creations. So with the Munay-Ki, we really learn to rest in the fabric of life, deeply rest in that fabric of life, and know that we are held, that we belong, and that we have that essential mother and that essential father that protects. There are 10 initiations in the Munay-Ki. And the first one connects us to a lineage of healers that are going to incentive us to move towards our own healing. So many of us have started this healing journey long ago. And perhaps we have felt lonely or lost at times. With the Hampe, the lineage of healers, we never feel alone again in this journey. We know that there's a lineage of medicine people from the past and from the future that are whispering what is our next step and our path, and really accompany us to make those decisions of what is beneficial, auspicious for our souls and bodies and our lives, so we can become that oasis of light in our communities. After this first initiation, we receive 3 rites or transmissions that enhance our luminous architecture. We have, as a second rite, the bands of power, which are these bells that are are built, woven in our bodies with the elements, not just from around that, but from inside. We are, of course, water, earth, air, fire, and light. And we gather the elements from inside the body and the ecosystem to build these belts around us. And this is a protection not only from the outer world, but sometimes even more important, from our own toxic emotions. Then we have a third initiation that allow us to reset our instincts as we connect deeply, intimately with spirits of animals that are our allies. For example, the serpent, the jaguar, the hummingbird, and the eagle, and other three archetypes that will reside with us in our field. So we have better access to our subconscious world, and then to our superconscious world, our world of possibilities and destiny. And then combining the two, the subconscious or collective unconscious with the superconscious or destiny, the past and the future, coming into the present to help us manifest what is auspicious for us today, sowing the seeds of who we want to become. So we get great allies to accompany us in the path. And today I am going to work with you with Jaguar. I am going to gift you that connection with the great spirit of this ally that is Jaguar, when we know how to work with it. The fourth initiation, it lays extra cerebral pathways in the shape of a crown, luminous crown connected to the visual cortex, and then a luminous necklace. So we may see more from the spiritual eye, and not in a cold and intellectual way, but connected to the heart, so in a compassionate and kind fashion. So we may be able to solve difficulties from a place of intelligence that is really seeing with the help of the heart. With the fifth initiation, we become part of a lineage of medicine people that really has a fluid relationship with the earth, with the feminine aspect, the aspect that nourishes us and provides for us. So this lineage, the day keepers, are the ones that remember how to make offerings to the day, light that candle, make an altar, bring flowers, and pray, not just for the little self, but for the community. It's the one that really remembers how to be a beacon of light for the community. And really, it brings us to right relationship with the feminine. The next initiation, number 6, it connects us to a lineage of wisdom keepers that rest in the mountains, in the great mountains. Each one of the wisdom keepers has a mountain that is like their spiritual home, a place in the high heavens where they can pray from, much closer to spirit, much more in like a retreat place to receive more subtle wisdom. And that wisdom is shared with their mountain. So it sounds a little bit crazy perhaps for our Western mentality, but I have had that experience. I actually know what is to reside, to take up residence in a mountain, and it's really beautiful and gorgeous and powerful. I'll tell you a little story. um, I grew up with a very wounded masculine, and with a father that was not home very much, and not really with a healthy masculine figure in my life. And when I went to this important Apu, the spirit of the mountains called Apu in Quechua, when I went on a pilgrimage to Apu Ausangate, the mountain itself, the spirit, gave me a dream. And I saw the Apu, the spirit, in the mountain like a grandfather. The glacier was his white beard and white hair, and I could see the eyes that, of course, in the daytime look like rocks. But it told me, I will always protect you. So from there, I really felt the protection, like the shape of the mountain over me. And every time I feel like I need that extra warmth and also wisdom. There's so much wisdom in each one of the mountains. I feel this Ausangate embracing me like a grandfather. So it is like I was never orphaned again in the masculine aspect. Very beautiful. The seventh initiation, it's called Kurak Akuyak in Quechua. And it means that very wise elder person who can see with such great perspective that it is like standing on a star or in space and seeing the earth from above. So the Kurakakuyak is able to receive very subtle and important wisdom, and then, like a mother, can chew that wisdom and offer it to the people, the community, in a manner that is digestible, understandable, with easy words that even children can understand, or everybody understands at their own level. But at this level of wisdom, Kurekakuyak, we speak about the earth keepers, because they can see the earth like a whole being. It's not like standing in front of the altar to welcome the day, or on top of a mountain to see with better perspective, but it's really to see the earth from the distance and hold it like a whole being, Gaia, Pachamama in Quechua, like holding Pachamama in our own arms. The earth keepers care for all children around the earth, not just for the children in my village, but the whole earth and all people that are suffering and sick, and old people that are alone, and people that are without a home, immigrants. So it really understands, because it has reached such level of Munay, of love, that understands the pain of each person around. And it's not that it takes it on and carries it like weight. Just the opposite. The earthkeeper, it can really laugh and smile like a child, because it also has great understanding and clarity of the processes of consciousness and of life. So it really sees in the other side of the tunnel the light, and it can guide us there. And then comes the initiation of the times to come, or the prophets that are not separated from the prophecy. So even more than the Kurakakuyak, these people anchor themselves in the times to come, and not just whatever time, but dreaming the world into being. What destiny line do we want to feed, nurture? So it's like they can walk or journey through the different possibilities for the earth, for all humanity. At this level, we care for all humanity and all beings in the earth and beyond the earth. And it's like, okay, what is an auspicious, healthy possibility for us, especially in these critical times? And then it really is able to um, bring those news, that prophecy, and and just guide us. And the ninth rite is the Taitantis Rantis, to be like the Creator, to understand that we're not separate from the source that breathes us, that inhales us, that animates us and the rivers and the trees and the flowers and animates all life, and that keeps the earth rotating around the sun and all planets rotating around the sun and the whole solar system going in a bigger galaxy and so forth, the universe expanding. So it really is that level of knowing deep in each cell, deep in the heart, just being able to knowing by feeling, not by thinking, not because I study physics or astronomy, but really by feeling that we are one with that breath that breathes us all. And from that place, I can also co-create, manifest, dream the world into being. So we explored that, and it requires just a tremendous level of heart opening to get to that place, because otherwise we collapse with our emotions that are anger and jealousy and pride and so forth. All of that just makes us come into our little lives again and become defensive and separated from others. So to become like the Creator is like really being able to breathe it all in and offer it all out, like just the most heightened level of generosity. The 10th initiation is the rite of the womb that came last to the Munay-Ki, and it connects us to a lineage of women who lived beyond suffering, who remembered truly what is to live free of suffering, of slavery. And they have come in this time of great transition. In the Andes, they speak about Pachacuti, when the world turns upside down, which means that we never go back to being the same, but it's really a transformational moment in which we learn to perceive reality in a different way, and we have to adapt to a new way of being. So for the Quechua people, the last Pachacuti happened 500 years ago, when the Spaniards and Portuguese came to the Americas, and in the north, of course, the English and the other Europeans. So when the Americas were conquered, then the life of the native people was never the same again, of course, and we're still feeling the ripples of that Pachacuti. So again, every 500 years, they say we live and we go through a Pachacuti, and that's where we are right now. And this lineage of women have come to remind us how to give birth to that new world that we long for. So we are not just the victims of change, but that we actively give birth to the world that we long for. So it's a very courageous lineage that really empowers women and all people, because even men come from the womb. Remember that. So in the end, it really benefits all humanity, and of course, in that way, all beings, as we remember how to look after each other and that we all share this beautiful planet. Thank you, everyone, for listening and learning about this. It is such a beautiful and heartful path that it complements with all traditions. You can walk any other spiritual tradition and do any practices that you enjoy and still learn and be nourished by the Munay-Ki, by the codes from the Andes, this map and this energy that comes from the Andes and South America to nourish the world, with the permission and the encouragement of Alberto Villoldo's mentors. They said, the world needs this wisdom and this love. Please go ahead and give it to your students and let them share it with others as much as possible, because the world needs this wisdom. And the Quero people, one of the nations, villages that were holding this wisdom so sacred, they had retreated high in the mountains for these 500 years of conquest. So when Alberto interacted with them for the first time and then for many years, they still had their spirituality so pure, so intact. And he developed a relationship with them, a relationship of trust. So the mentors he had really encouraged Alberto to share this wisdom. These people are not people that cultivated resentment against the conquistadors. So there's no resentment and fear to share these initiations and this love and this medicine. Just the opposite. The instructions Alberto got from his mentors were, please share this wisdom with your students and your people, because they're hungry for it. And we need to come to the 21st century and find our way. But we don't want this wisdom to be lost. So please share with them. And since then, he and then me and our students keep working with the medicine people of the Andes and the coast and the Amazons. And it mostly, or at least from our part, it's with a lot of respect for the origin of these initiations, for everything that it took for this wisdom to be maintained pure and intact all the way to us. And we offer it with the same love, ethics, and hopefully power that we were privileged to receive it with. So it's with that attitude and stance that we want to give you these rites. And we actually, as I said, we work with some of the medicine people still, and we invite them to our program, so you get to interact with them as well.